I just analyzed an online coaching business that's making $216,000 a year and it's hemorrhaging clients. And over the next 15 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why 61% of the business is leaving every single year. And of course, I'm going to show you the 4 things that we can do to triple their business in the next 12 months. This is a real audit pulled directly from my little black book of ideas. It's a real fitness business with 44 active clients and an average income of $18,000 a month. But there's one obvious problem. In the last 12 months, they signed 114 new clients and they lost 70. Said simply, this is a death spiral. This business needs help, so let's throw it a lifeline. By the end of this video, you'll know the exact framework I use to diagnose a problem in an online fitness coaching business, and you'll get a step-by-step process of how I fix them. These steps will apply to you whether you're making $20 a month, $20K a month, or even $200K a month. I'm gonna break down all the numbers, show you the real constraint of this business, and we'll also map out the next 90 days of exactly what needs to be solved to make sure that this business grows. And if you don't know who I am, my name's Reese Livingstone. I built my own online coaching company to multi-7 figures a year. I spent $700,000 on a gym and a studio, and no, you can't come. And now I spend all my time helping other online coaches build something that they actually enjoy, that scales, that profits, and is something that is built to last. And in the last year, the clients that I've worked with have generated over $20 million in top line revenue. Anyway, let's talk about what's actually happening in this business. Before we do, little disclaimer, this is no promise of revenue or growth in your business. Your results will obviously vary based on your effort, your experience, and what you actually do. Truth be told, most of you probably won't grow from this because most of you just won't do anything. But with that out of the way, let's dive in. So we have a top line revenue of $216,000 per year. We currently have 44 active clients, and revenue is rotating or going up and down between 16 and 20K per month with an average of 18. Next obvious question is, what are they selling? Core offer is a $3,200 package for a 6-month offer. That sounds decent, right? Wrong. The AOV here is the big kicker. Let's do some quick math on this. We have our 18,000 top line monthly average. We have 4.3 weeks per month on average, which works out to be $4,186 of average income per month. We divide that by the 44 active clients. Our average order value is sitting just over $95 a week. So we're charging in full, taking a paid in full up front, but we've only got an average of $95 per week as an AOV. This means we're getting none of the benefit, none of the delta on charging as a paid in full, and all of the risk. For people that tell you that it's not harder to sell more expensive things, they're lying. Especially when the person that's selling isn't all that experienced. So we're charging more, said simply, for getting no extra benefit. Like, sure, we're pulling cash forward and we're getting a big chunk of income up front, but when we spread that over the deliverable term, it really does nothing to actually create any positives to the business, which in my world, that's a big sad face. Little side quest for you for a second. I've audited over 400 online coaches over the last few years. All these online coaches have been within their first 2 years of online coaching, meaning that they're not all that experienced and they're probably less good than you are. After ordering this many businesses, there's a few things that we can get from this, most importantly, data. And one of the most interesting pieces of data, when we pushed out all of the price averages of all 400, it came in to be 96 and some change. That's their weekly average rate that they charge out to clients. And they're not even that good yet. So we compare that to the AOV of $95 for the business that's doing north of 200K a year. This isn't looking too good. Welcome to problem number 1. We have a mad pricing issue, but we'll come back to that in a second. Let's find problem number 2. We signed 114 clients in the last 12 months. Over the same 12 months, we also lost 70 clients too, which leaves us with a 61% churn. And now, if you're not sure what churn is, this is the holes in the bucket. It's the leaks. It's the thing that makes you feel like you're taking 2 steps forward and 2 steps back, or in this case, more than 2 steps back. That 61%, it's hell high. We need to fix this and we need to fix it fast. Said simply, this business is losing more than half its clients every single year, which means we're only a few months away from having, say, a couple bad months with our marketing or our inbound acquisition. And this business is in some real hot water. What we end up with here is a bit of a death spiral. The business keeps churning down and down and down to a point where we have way less money and big sad face business owner. Let's map it out. Over the next 12 months, we sign another 114 new people. Not bad. But over the coming months, we start to lose a few. We start to lose more, and then we start to lose even more again. The only thing that continues to feed this business is its ability to pay to play. We're running a fair amount of paid ads and we're trying to push a bunch of media out. This is a big problem because if we stop spending, we start shrinking. So welcome to problem number 2. We have a 61% churn. Half the business is leaving every single year. So what have we got so far? Problem number 1, pricing. Problem number 2, we're losing half of the business, if not more, every single year. Let's find problem number 3. We've taken a look under the hood of the business and we've noticed some issues with lead flow. We get 11 inbound leads per month. This is exclusively through paid media. Of those 11 leads, we get roughly 18.1% on throughput to booked call, which means some basic math. We're only getting 2 calls booked per every 11 leads that come through. Thankfully, so far, and this is, I will say, a massive fluke, we have a 100% show up rate on booked calls. But we have more than 80% of the leads just falling through the cracks. We have a nice funnel of people coming through the system, but not many people getting a chance to get to the back end and actually pay. Welcome to problem number 3. An 18% lead to booking ratio. We need to fix this fast. Now, when you're running your own business, there are no rules. And when there's no rules, there's no guidelines. So what could we be aiming for here? 40% lead to booking rate is what I aim for with all the clients that I work with. So this means we have a 2x multiplier on how many clients we can get through from a lead to booking in this business. And it's pretty simple. So what do we got? Problem number 1, big pricing issue. Problem number 2 is we're losing over half of the business every single year. And problem number 3 is we have a horrible lead to booking ratio. But there is one good thing here. And I want to highlight, remember how I said all these leads coming through, or at least the ones we're counting in this math, is all coming in from paid media? We also have a few bookings coming through from referrals. And these referrals excite me. They tell me that this business actually has a chance to grow. First off, we have over 30% of our lead flow coming through as a referral, which is a big tick in my book. Anything above 20%, we're good. And when we look at a net closing rate between the paid media leads and then the referral leads, we're closing at 50% over the whole business. This is worth noting, a 50% close rate on a $3,200 product that's actually not influencing the AOV all that well. A little bit of foreshadowing here is if we push the price up aggressively and try and get a 2 to 3x delta where we actually have a benefit from doing a paid in full, we're going to get lower conversions on the sale. Nonetheless, with the referrals, what this tells me is that when this business does get clients, they do a good job and people like to spread the word. So what do we got? Problem number 1, pricing. Problem number 2, we've got half the business, more than actually, leaving every single year. Problem number 3, we've got a lead to book call ratio that needs a bit of work. But the 4th problem ties them all together. So problem number 4, the customer journey process. So the customer journey process starts all the way back at day 0. And for this particular business, pushes all the way through to week 27. That's our LTV at the moment. Keep in mind, we're selling a 26-week program, which means the business owner is only keeping clients for 1 extra week other than what they've already paid for. Now, this isn't uncommon, keeping people only just past the minimum commitment. But in this case, this business is going to struggle to get all the way to a top line of 7 figures if we don't address the LTV. To understand why these people are leaving just after their commitment period, we need to understand what happens next. We need to understand what happens before that, at every point, at every milestone. Let's start with the pricing process. We charge $3,200 up front for the entirety of the 26 weeks. The customer experiences this on a sales call where they get this huge dopamine rush, and they also get a huge sense of overwhelm, like, oh my God, I've just paid $3,200. Is this going to be worth it? So their perception of value is super high, but their perception of doubt is just as high too. They don't know whether this is really going to work or whether the money that they've just invested is going to pay off. Nonetheless, this big high of excitement, the dopamine rush that they get from paying so much money, it fades off. So what we start to see is a bit of a downturning response to how they perceive value. Said differently, the business owner and the service that they provide becomes commoditized. Now, as a nervous business owner that's just charged $3,200, they think, what do I do to make sure that this feels good to buy? We pull back all of the value that we could potentially offer and get it right into the front end of the experience. We onboard, we give them a lot of welcome messages, we give them access to our community, we throw the kitchen sink at them. But guess what? This just matches their overwhelm. And most of the time, this just falls on deaf ears. And the person that's just paid all this money gets scared and they start to turn down and lean into the perception of value dropping off as they go. Think about it. Most of the time when you try and onboard people with all this stuff, they don't really consume any of it. If this sounds at all like your business, drop me a like, comment, and subscribe. It goes a long way. Please and thank you. My media man will kill me if I don't get you to do this. So do that for me now. It takes 3 seconds. Like, comment, subscribe. Please and thank you. Now, what ends up happening across this journey is the client that's paid the $3,200 eagerly awaits the 26-week cutoff time because that's when they've already decided to churn. They've bought this as a product, right? They bought an outcome. It's very hard to get a resale point because as a business owner, you have to either schedule it or you have to let them expect it. In real talk, what the business owner is doing right now is they're waiting to week 25 and they're saying, hey, do you want to sign on for another $3,200 package? To which most clients are obviously saying no, the math is mathing and we're losing more than half of them. For the very few that do say yes, we end up having to downsell into a weekly reoccurring of $80 per week to make it feel like a deal for them. They almost always say no to the $3,200 again because they feel like they've already bought that. But the wildly annoying thing, and why this doesn't work, and probably why most people don't think of it this way, is because the client has already downturned and accepted they're paying $0 next week. What I mean is most business owners think, okay, I've gotten to the end of my package deal. I'm going to downsell them into my, say, $80 a week product because that's cheaper than what they were paying on average before with the 3.2. Wrong, because the client has commoditized you. They've adapted to the value that you've provided, and you've now just become normal for them, which means they've gotten to the point of week 20, 22, or 24 and said, I'm paying $0 next week, which means your downsell to $80 per week is in fact an upsell for them. Problem number 4 is we have a customer journey issue. The client is going through a process that isn't appropriately weighted to make sure that they stick around for a long period of time. So let's put the game show hat on for a second. Which door do you choose? Door number 1, pricing. Door number 2, churn. Door number 3, lead to booking. Or door number 4, the customer journey. Let's map out our options here. Let's say we go to price. That's going to be the problem we solve. To get a delta that's actually worth our time doing a paid in full model in the way that they're currently charging, we're going to need a 2 to 3x. It's going to be around $9,600 for the same period of time, 6 months. We're already converting 50% of the leads into a sold call, and that's including referrals. So I don't like our chances to get a 6 months at $9,600. So let's close off door number 1, or at least in that way. We're definitely not going to triple the price so that we can try and get as many people through to convert. It just won't work. How I would solve the pricing problem is deploy an omni-profit model. If you want to learn what omni-profit is, it's a direct lesson from Undeniable University, and it allows us to not only collect cash up front, but also get cash into the future. It's a mad continuity offer and allows you to stack profits in the business every which way possible. There'll be a link down below if you want to see what it's all about and see how we can help. So problem number 2, let's map out how we can actually fix that up. And more importantly, if it's worth putting our effort into now. Remember, getting a business to grow isn't just about solving all the problems, it's solving the problem in the right order, the right way. Again, with business, there are no rules, there are no guidelines, so what do we actually aim for with churn? Year over year, we're trying to aim for a 36%. That's 3% month over month, every single month into the future, which means we'd have to cut the churn by just below half. It's a big ask. And to do that, we'd have to change a lot about the model itself, being price and structure. So I don't think this is the thing that we focus on now. Door number 3, our lead to booking ratio. We have 18% of the leads actually getting to a booked call. We need to solve this. This is a big leak. Because let's just go for a double here. If we can get this up to a 40% lead to book, even though nothing else changes, churn stays the same, price stays the same, and we get just double the amount of people onto a call, we're going to sell them still at a 50%, which means business grows. So far, this looks like the winner. This is the problem that we solve now. But what about problem number 4, the customer journey? Problem number 4 with the customer journey is going to be the thing that, if we look at it from a perspective of leverage, it will create change in every other problem that we have. Right now, the founder is thinking about week 26 as the end of the journey. And we're also really concerned about matching this buyer's perception of value at the front end in this journey. So we're pulling a bunch of our value all the way back to the beginning of this customer process, which feels like the right thing to do to make sure that the money that they've paid up front actually makes sense. But it kind of makes the whole process on the back end feel a little bit stale. And this is why they become a commodity. So what do? Assuming we're leaving price the same. We think about, instead of pulling all of our value, we start to drip feed it across the process. Pro tip here, I would try and drip feed a bunch of the value to be after their paid in full model. And we tell them all the way back at, let's say, week 20 of what's to come at week 27, week 28, and so on. So which problems do we solve? In which order? Firstly, we solve the lead to booking problem. If we can double the amount of bookings that come through, business will grow. Next, we improve the customer journey. Rather than over delivering on the front end, we start to drip feed across the whole journey. This will in turn fix problem number 3, which is churn. We can even sprinkle in a little bit of an upsell. Rather than making a resell at week 24, we think about what we can get them to buy next at week maybe 12 or 14. And then lastly, we address the price. The price is going to be the biggest alteration that will require a little bit of testing, training, and modeling. So how do we actually triple the business? Let me break it down. The first thing we have to recognize is we have 70 people that exited the business in the last 12 months. These are a gold mine. We just need to get a reactivation campaign drilled out to them. We do this with incentives, offers, or just simple reactivation campaigns. Again, if you want to learn some of the reactivation campaigns that we use, click below. Number 2, remember how I said they had roughly 30% on referrals and they weren't even trying to? What if we built a system that doubled their referral process? Typically, when we have one thing that works well, we can make it work way better when we pay attention to it. So if we double the referrals from 38% to 68%, we have a 100% growth rate on the business. Coming back to the problems that we're solving before, altering the customer journey, if we can just reduce that churn by 25%, we have a 33% growth rate on the business on top of the original 100. If we combine all of that together, reactivation campaign, a referral strategy that actually works and that's intentional, and then reducing the churn by 25%, we have an easy 300% growth on this business. Not to mention altering the lead to booking process at all. So quick tips, what do we actually do to fix the problem? Lead to booking ratio, we want to put a VSL and ethically bribe. How this looks, lead enters inbox or fills out the form, they get an automatic redirect to a VSL page. Heading, video of you, and then call to action to book a call. In that video, we need to have proof, promise, plan, and payoff, like all the things that they actually want to see. That encourages them to click below and book in a call. When they do book that call in, we want to ethically bribe. Whether it be they get a $200 voucher just to show up, or they get an ebook of your choice. Get creative here. There's plenty of systems online that you will be able to use to deploy vouchers of other people's value to get them to show up to your call. Customer journey, drip feed out some more things along the process, maybe alter the price on the front end and distribute some cash a little bit differently. But more importantly, don't just wait for the end to upsell or to resell. Put it in the middle and give them a reason to stick around into the future. Even layer in the process of like actually getting these referrals and systemizing this through the first 26 weeks. This will get them to churn less by default. Remember how I said there's one constraint that will solve? That one constraint is the customer journey just needs work. It's not facilitating long-term growth and it's not built to be a 7-figure business. These are the right problems, and if solved in the right way, this is the difference from this business being a $200,000 business to a $2 million business. Once you know how to identify the point of constraint in a business, this process of growing businesses gets pretty easy. Deploy these 4 strategies in your business and hey, maybe they'll work. Remember, not a promise or guarantee, but give it a try. Anyway, if you like videos just like this, we're trying to put a lot more effort into long-form content. So comment below, let me know you like it, and like, subscribe, do all the stuff. See ya.